All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're getting super practical and talking about how to build a truly resilient multi-region application using Istio on the Azure Kubernetes Service, or AKS. No theory, just the blueprint.
So let's just start with the one question that should keep every architect up at night. Your app is global. It's running smoothly. And then, poof, an entire cloud region just goes offline. Is your app down too? Today, we're going to architect an answer that lets you say no.
Okay, so to make this feel real, we're not going to talk in abstracts. We need a concrete scenario, a real-world problem to solve. So let's set the stakes.
Let's imagine we're running a massive e-commerce site. It's global. Maybe our product catalog services are running in the US, while all our user profile and payment services are over in Europe. Now, these services have to be in constant communication, and the customer experience has to be totally seamless, no matter where they are in the world.
For a platform like this, there are a few things that are just, well, they're non-negotiable, right? We absolutely need high availability and, more importantly, automated disaster recovery. So the site stays up without you getting a frantic call at 3 a.m. And on top of that, we need smart traffic management and one unified way to see what's going on with security and observability across the entire system.
So, how in the world do we actually pull this off? Well, the answer lies in a dual cluster design. Let's take a look at the high-level blueprint of what we're about to build.
Okay, so here's the big picture. We've got two completely separate AKS clusters. One's in the US, the other's in Europe. Each one has its own independent Istio service mesh managing the services running right there. Think of them like two self-sufficient islands. But for them to work as one global application, we need to build a very smart, very secure bridge between them.
And that bridge, that connection, that's where all the magic really happens. How do we get two isolated, independent service meshes to act like a single unified fabric for our application? Let's break down how it works.
It really just boils down to three core steps. First, you handle trust. You give them a common certificate authority so they can prove their identities to each other. Second, you manage access. You use a special gateway to let services talk between the clusters. And finally, you enable discovery, so each mesh knows exactly what services are available in the other one and how to reach them.
Now let's pause on this term east-west gateway because it's super important. You're probably familiar with the front door to your cluster, your ingress gateway. That handles north-south traffic coming in from the outside world. An east-west gateway is different. Think of it more like a secure, controlled hallway inside the house. Its only job is to manage the traffic moving laterally between our two clusters.
Okay, so we've built our fancy connected system. Now for the real test. We've got a plan for the absolute worst-case scenario to see if this architecture actually holds up when it matters.
So let's run the drill. Let's pull the plug on the entire US region. It's just gone. A total outage. What happens to our global e-commerce site? Does our whole business go down with it? And this is the payoff. This is why we did all that work. On a normal day, before the failure, Istio is intelligently load balancing traffic across both regions. Then disaster strikes. Region A vanishes. But here's the thing. No pagers go off. No one has to lift a finger. The service mesh automatically detects that those US endpoints are unhealthy, and it instantly and seamlessly reroutes 100% of the traffic over to the healthy services in Region B. Yeah, a user in California might see a little more latency, but the application stays online. That is automated disaster recovery in action.
Building a system like this isn't just about following technical steps. It's really about adopting the right mindset, a new way of thinking. So let's distill all of this down to 4 core principles for making this work.
Just 4 rules. Think of them as the architect's commandments for building a multi-cluster mesh.
Rule number 1, assume failure. Things are going to break. Networks will go down. Your goal isn't to build a system that's invincible, because you can't. Your goal is to build a system that expects failure and knows how to survive it gracefully when it inevitably happens.
Second, and this one is so critical, federate trust, not control. That means you let the meshes securely talk to each other, but each mesh's control plane remains its own boss. Because if you centralize control for everything, well, you've just created a brand new giant single point of failure that can take down your entire global system at once.
Principle number 3. If you can't see it, you can't manage it. It's that simple. You absolutely have to have a single pane of glass for your logs, your metrics, and your traces that covers all your clusters. Trying to debug a multi-region failure by jumping between 5 different monitoring systems is a complete nightmare.
And finally, rule number 4.
Keep your failover logic simple. You know what's just another thing that's guaranteed to break during an outage? That super complex 20-step failover script you wrote. Don't do it. Let the mesh do the heavy lifting. Keep it automated and predictable.
We've spent this whole time talking about connecting technology, about connecting clusters, but if I'm being honest, that's usually the easy part. A distributed system like this requires a shift in how your teams operate and collaborate. So we figured out how to connect the clusters, but the real question I want to leave you with is, are your teams connected? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.